Hi guys, I'm Laura Vitale. In this episode of Laura in the Kitchen, I want to share with you my recipe for what I like to call my supreme pizza bread without a mixer. No mixer. I'm going to show you how to make a fantastic loaf of pizza, supreme pizza bread. So when you think of supreme pizza here in the States anyway, every local pizza place has a pizza called Supreme or Everything Pizza or The Works or whatever it's called, which basically means it's got everything on it. Now, this only has a few toppings, the kind that I really like, so I'm calling this my Supreme Pizza bread because that's really what it is. It tastes like a Supreme Pizza, but in bread form, no mixer, no bread machine, just with our hands, and it's going to be phenomenal. The ingredients you'll need are not very many. You're going to start off with some all-purpose flour. I've got some salt in here. Now this is the mixture I'm using. I'm using red bell peppers that I've diced, black olives, red onion, and this is some pepperoni that I've chopped up, oregano and hot pepper flakes, a little bit of sugar, some active dry yeast, and you'll need some olive oil and of course some water. Let's get started. I'm going to add my yeast to my warm water. My water is at about 110 degrees Fahrenheit, and this is just going to help bloom the yeast. So set that aside, and I just added a little tiny bit of sugar to that because the sugar is what feeds the yeast. And once that comes to the right, you'll see it gets all foamy and it smells really fragrant. That's when you know it's done. Wait till you see how good this recipe is. Now this really, I could do an entire series on just the foundation of this bread. This is just my pizza dough recipe, but we're not going to knead it the way we do with my pizza dough. It's phenomenal, and you can do so many different things with it. I want to show you how to make a rustic bread with it, rustic dinner rolls, sub rolls. I want to show you how to make so many different things with this method because it's so easy. I'm going to set this aside for a few minutes and wait for it to come to sort of bloom, and then we'll mix everything together. My yeast is looking good. I'm just going to add the remaining sugar to my flour mixture. Make sure you got nice clean hands. And then you're going to add a little bit of olive oil. I just like to add it to my yeast mixture. And then that way I can add the whole thing in here. Add it right in. And just with your hands, all you're going to do, and you're going to think to yourself, oh, this is never going to come together. But really, you don't want a perfect smooth dough. That's not what we're after here. Like I said, this is not pizza dough. This is just the most delightful dough for this bread. And you're going to think to yourself, oh, that is way too much flour. But just see if you can see what I'm doing. I'm just kind of kneading this with my hands. And the more you knead it, the more that flour gets sort of absorbed. See? By that yeast mixture. And just do this. That's it. Like literally, that's all you need to do. And at this point, you can add these ingredients, like so, and instantly it smells like a Supreme Pizza because you can smell the pepperoni and the onion. If you don't like red onion or bell peppers, you could put some sliced mushrooms in there. Just stay away from anything wet. Stay away from roasted peppers, marinated stuff, because that will completely mess up the consistency of your dough. As you can see, if you can come closer, I do have an awesome camera guy, let's face it. The bread has sort of absorbed all of that excess flour everywhere, and just continue to mix it like so. Just for a second. You don't have to be perfect. This needs to rise. What I like to do is just take a little bit of oil, because I'm just going to let it rise in this bowl. Absolutely no need to get another bowl dirty, and then just kind of mesh it around so both sides are covered with a little bit of olive oil. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to cover this with some plastic wrap. Stick it somewhere room temperature. I like to just pop it in the microwave. I don't turn the microwave on, but it's the only place I can just be certain that there's going to be no drafts, nothing like that. Pop it in there for about an hour, and then after the hour, I'm going to pop this in the fridge for an hour and 15 minutes. So an hour at room temperature, an hour and 15 minutes or so in the fridge, and I'll show you what it looks like when it's there. It feels like a baby's bottom, nice and dimply. This looks phenomenal. Now remember, this was at room temperature for an hour, and then in the fridge for an hour and 15 minutes, and I just let it come to room temperature for just a minute or two, more like 10. But save this because you're going to need to cover that to let it rise a little bit more. Okay, I'm going to flour my surface. I also have a baking sheet with you can see it's upside down because I'm going to slide this onto my pizza stone once it's ready to go into the oven, but it's not ready just yet, but I do want to have it ready. Okay, get all this out of here, like so. Oh, I just love this dough. I also have some shredded mozzarella ready, and you need to punch this down and roll it out to like, I don't know, like an 11 by 15 inch rectangle. You remember the baking sheet is 17 by 11, so roughly, but really no one is going to come to your house with a ruler wanting to make sure that your bread is the right measurement. So don't worry about it. Just trying to get it all to be about the same thickness. Then you take your mozz, your shredded mozz. You can see I'm stuffing it. I'm going to put a nice layer of that. I'm going to about 1.5 cups of shredded mozzarella. You could do more, you could do less. You can do whatever your heart desires because this is your supreme bread. Now what I like to do is kind of fold this like an envelope, if you will. Kind of fold it in 3s. Okay. See, I'm pinching the sides because I don't want that cheese to escape. Fold it like that. Do not worry if it's a little bit sticky like so. It's way better to have it a little sticky than to have a lot of flour. Got my piece of parchment. Pinch the ends. Put this, actually, just want to do a little teensy bit of flour. It's very forgiving dough. It will not yell at you. You see, it's really easy to work with. It's going to be so phenomenal. I just love it. Listen, can we just talk about carbs? Why? I just don't know why. And the worst thing about it is it's hot out. So normal people would steer away from carbs. Meanwhile, me, I see no need to. I see no reason to give up on something that brings me so much joy. So anyway, enough of the rambling. This looks magnificent. You can see that, right? Now what I want you to do is take this oiled, it's already oiled because the top had some oil on it from when I put the plastic on top of the dough. I like to leave it just like this at room temperature, 45 minutes. In the meantime, I'm gonna clean up and then we'll get our oven preheated. And this baby is this close to going in the oven. That looks gorgeous. Okay, my bread has been rising for about 45 minutes. I have my oven preheated to 425 degrees. If you don't have a pizza stone, I have a pizza stone. I'm going to bake this on a pizza stone. If you have one, first of all, preheat it along with your oven. All the words, it's like my mind, there's so much in there, it's all just coming at the same time. It doesn't know where it belongs. If you don't have a pizza stone, then take another baking sheet just like this one, put it upside down like I did with this one, and then throw it in the oven to preheat alongside the oven, and then that way you can kind of slide this over that baking sheet. I'm just making slight slits on top. They don't have to be really deep. Doesn't really matter that much. Brush just a tad of olive oil. Again, doesn't really matter how much. You don't want to be too much, but you don't want to be too little. Just a light coating is what you want. Now, this is going to go in the oven for about 45 minutes. You will find that halfway through, you want this to be a beautiful, deep, dark, brown color. If you find that in about 20 minutes it's developing too much color, tint it with some aluminum foil until it's completely done baking. It does need at least 40 minutes to bake. Mine always takes about 45, and again, I tend to cover it loosely with aluminum foil halfway through to prevent it from getting too much color. So I'm going to pop this in, and then we'll let it cool on a wire rack, and we'll dig in. Get yourself some marinara sauce for dipping. You can't have pizza without a sauce in whatever form, whether it's rolls, bread, calzone, whatever. I need me some sauce. My bread was in the oven for about 50 minutes, and I actually didn't need to cover it at all because it just cooked up beautifully. Let's look at the color underneath. Gorgeous, gorgeous, lovely crust. I've got some marinara sauce handy. I cannot wait. I have let this cool pretty much completely. Look at that. The perfect bread. Do you see the texture? Literally the perfect bread texture. I just love it. Ah, it smells like an everything pizza, you know, like the works. Oh, if you want to put whatever you want in here, by all means go for it, but I need to just do a little bit of this right now. Oh. Perfect texture bread, good crust, chewy interior. The vegetables are just perfectly cooked. They're not too mushy, but they're not hard. Look at this. Is that not a gorgeous loaf of bread? I mean, because it is. Go to laurainthekitchen.com, get the written recipe. Please make it this weekend. Share a picture with me, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, wherever you want. I always love seeing your creations. And let me know what you love on your supreme pizza. I'm not a fan of anchovies. I'm just gonna put that out there. I'll take it all but the anchovies. If you guys have enjoyed spending time with me, Hi guys, I'm Laura Vitale. Did you just see the water? What was that? Did you see that? Did you see that? No, you here? I think my grandfather's in here. I just saw something come across the camera.